Unfortunately, I'm gonna be the hater on this card. I honestly, I do hate cards like these.
80% of the people were playing the same freaking deck.
Welcome to WWB Ward Wide Broadcast. This is episode 19, and it's just me and Billy running the duo. Oh yeah. I think to start off for this week, we got talk about our I always want to call it a tournament, our league that we have going on, because I think people they only have a limited amount of time left to get into the league if they want to join it, right, Billy? And so if you just want to quickly like go back over again, just like how people can like register and get into the league and a little bit about it, I guess, just to make sure if anybody who hasn't already heard about it can hear about it.
Sure. Yeah, quick recap. WWB Summer Ward Fantasy League. It's an online 8-week tournament. You do one game a week. You schedule it on your own time. $10 to register. There's a playoff bracket at the end of it. And, top 3 get cash prizes, special prize to last place. Going to be mostly normal formats, but we'll throw in some fun formats like Pauper in there. So you get to change your cards week to week, and you use whatever cards you want because it's online. No deck checks. You can just play with what's on untap. Make whatever crazy decks you want. And, it's just goals to have fun and have something to do board-wise and maybe test out some fun decks, competitive decks, wacky decks, silly decks, whatever, just in between, right after Ward Bowl and then before the tournament season really picks back up. We got a couple events going on here and there, but just wanted to put something together for ease of use. You're not being assigned, you have to play this game at this time every week. And you don't have to play multiple games a day. It's just once a week at your convenience. When they reunion, your opponent can schedule it. To register, $10 to me on Venmo. If you don't have Venmo, just message me. We could do PayPal, Cash App, whatever. I don't care. Registration ends tomorrow, which would be the 27th at 5 p.m. Central. Just send me a message and we'll work something out. We got quite a few people already registered, so it should be a good turnout.
Yeah, and on top of all that, if you have any questions, obviously contact Billy or myself. I'm happy to try to get those things answered. If I can't answer, I'll probably reach out to Billy too and get a hold of him for you. And also, me and Billy will be in the league. We'll see if Tyler maybe joins too. Try to reach out to him, but you also get the ability to play the WWB people. So you can get a nice win on us once in a while. I'll be probably playing a wacky deck. I don't know about you, Billy, but I'll definitely be running some wacky stuff. So
I'll get some wacky stuff. Also, there are some ward members joining the staff, so if you want a chance to beat them up too.
Oh yeah, I think some of the staff might be joining as well. Like you were saying. So if you like playing against the devs of the game and want to beat them, I mean, like you said, it's a great opportunity to play them and show them what your skills are and and how much you enjoy their game. I'm sure they'd love to play against you guys. But yeah, so again, WWB Summer Ward Fantasy League. And thank you, Billy. Like I said, I appreciate you putting it on. I think it's a really good idea, especially in this kind of like quieter time of Ward at the moment. So it gives something for people to look forward to every week. Moving right along. Yeah. Oh, sorry, what was that?
I was just going to say, registration ends this week, the 27th, and then first games are next week, starting on 31st. I don't know, whatever next week is. It's the week of 4th of July, so a lot of games probably get played before the holiday. So
and I think that we're just starting with a normal game. So again, you can use any cards from the card pool. So just make your decks, and it's just a normal game of Ward, and so it'll be a good way to start off the league season, I'll say, and I think everybody will be pretty excited to do that. So, but moving forward.
One more thing. It's unofficial, so no rankings or anything come out of this. So if you lose all 8 games or whatever, no impact. So, move along.
There you go. Yeah, no, he's right. No official. Doesn't affect your ranking at all. Just a fun little thing that WWB is throwing on. But yeah, moving on. We have another event. We have the tournament at the Curious Crow is throwing on another. This is an official event, so let's just make sure that's clear. It's an official pack crack. So I'm pretty sure you just crack open a 35 card pack, your starter deck, and you basically get to play with that deck. And then, like I said, I think it's catered probably more towards newer players to be more inviting, to get them to come into Ward. And like you said, those pack cracks are kind of nice for that, because it's like you don't have to feel the burden of like, I need to own all the cards, or I don't have a competitive deck, or a lot of those issues that you might have, or those thoughts that you might have when it's like playing, in an actual just like bring your own deck. The pack crack kind of like makes it a lot more convenient for a lot more like newer players, and I think that's kind of what Curious Crow is trying to do, is just get as more people in the area from around to get start playing Award. And obviously this pack crack I think is a good idea. How do you feel about the pack crack, Billy?
Yeah, I like pack cracks a lot. Obviously, luck of the draw, so you could pull a bunch of garbage, or you could pull an Assassin and Creator one pack. So that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. But evens the playing field. If you don't have that many cards and you don't want to get smacked by someone playing with 20 legendaries in your deck, great opportunity, because odds are you probably only going to play. Everyone's going to have about the same level of cards.
Yeah. Speaking of people with a lot of cards, sorry, Billy. We do want to. I did want to shout out Mr. KC. I'm sure a lot of people see it in the Discord. Again, if you're not in the Discord, get in the Discord. Just type in War the Trading Card Game. Download Discord and get in there. And KC, he was flaunting around his 450 card collection. He had 3 copies of all the Gen 1 cards. So he's pretty proud that he kind of like got the complete set, I guess we could call that, is he got 3 copies of every card. So good job, KC. Shout out to you. We're all very impressed, and we all want to steal that binder full of all those cards. Just kidding. We don't steal things here, but but yeah.
What's crazy about that is that some people are, a lot of people are just, they have to grind, whether it's like ripping packs or working hard trades, or a little bit of both, just to get the 150.
Mm-hmm.
And Casey's out here like, that's too easy. Let me do a play set of everything. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like you got to think too, though, that it's like the longer like War exists, it's like it should be easier and easier for people to kind of achieve that goal, just because they're like, hey, I can get the 150 like basically by just trading or just purchasing or whatever, right? Because it's like for us, like at least like when Gen 1 reprint came out, it's like no one had Gen 1 reprint, right? So it's like you couldn't just trade for things. Everyone had to buy the packs. And so it's like the longer it goes on and the more editions they print out, it's like it should get easier and easier. So hopefully maybe there'll be some people that can join KC, and if someone is that's die hard to find all those 3 copies of every card, definitely it'll be interesting to see how many more people can achieve that goal. But yeah, definitely a very good goal to achieve at such an early period, I would say, with the Gen 1 reprint.
I guess he technically has the 453 because he's got the 3 Silence from the Graves as well. So that's 151 times 3. But
there you go.
Crazy.
453. Gotta correct it for the
accomplishment.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely a cool thing. And I don't think he'll be at this pack crack though, because I don't think he'll need to crack any more packs. I'm assuming, is it Gen 1, Gen 2? I guess I don't know the full details. Do you know, are they doing just pick one of the packs and crack it?
It's probably pick one of the packs. Yeah, open your 35, toss 5, and that's your deck. So we'll find out. Probably dealer's choice on if you want a Gen 1 or Gen 2.
Right. Yeah, I won't be at this tournament, but I think, Billy, you are attending the pack.
I'll definitely be there, and I've got quite a few friends who will be there as well. So it should be a good turnout. Sorry,
no,
Gibson, quit it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I think that's definitely gonna be a fun event for everybody to participate at, for sure. But anyway, I think that's all pretty much for the pack rack. Like I said, if you're just a new player and you're wanting to get involved in the pack rack, definitely something to look forward to. And if you're in the area around Curious Crow, definitely maybe make your way over there for it.
Yeah, that's July 19th. Is that right? I don't remember the date.
Yep, I think you're right. July 19th. So you got a couple weeks here to kind of plan and figure out what you're going to do for it. Like I said, it is a little bit of a quieter period for like ward events. And so to start off the season, with this being your first official, I mean, it could really set up people pretty well in the rankings too. I guess we should definitely cover that as like, yeah, I mean, and this is kind of their first opportunity to really like get in the rankings and get involved in the rank scene. So, I think that's also something exciting.
I think as it stands, because we have essentially the only people who are ranked at the moment are whoever went to the Hobby Quest tournament. So we got Alec A sitting at top of the rankings 6-0, and then they published the full top 10 in War and Honor, and I'm technically number 2 or 4 on War and Honor. I don't remember, but I'm 0-0, and so are you, and so is everyone else in our area. So. Maybe I'll get one win and add myself to the top 10. I don't know. We'll find out.
There you go. That's the most you can hope for, right? Just get me back in the top 10 as soon as I can.
Just let me start working on that rank, right? And something we learned from the Ward Bowl is that you don't need a lot of wins to necessarily make the Ward Bowl. So you make a couple events, get a win in here and there, and register, and you have a shot to win it all. I mean, freaking Joe T. I don't remember what his ranking was when he went into it, but he came out third. So
yeah, I think he was definitely in the Ward of Honors. I mean, he was probably near the lower. Yeah, so I mean, and he managed to upset a good couple of people that were in the top.
You got me.
10.
So
yeah, Billy. We don't talk about it. It's new season. It's all good.
That's old news.
Yeah. But no, but speaking of rank 1 right now, Alec Kermit, again, if people haven't seen it, definitely go over on our channel too. We also I have a video of our different series called Tournament Talks, and basically he was the first person that I've done the Tournament Talks with, which I'm trying to do more this season. Now Billy's letting me self-promote here, which is awesome. And so basically just another what was I going to say? Another form of media that we're doing for Ward. I'm basically trying to like categorize or like organize all the tournaments and get them all put in kind of categorized order, like so that we have like kind of like a historical track to like follow, so that people who are getting into Ward can basically have a way to kind of be like, oh, this is what it was like at this point, and this point, and this point, and basically just going from here to then. Like what I want to do too with that channel is I want to make sure that I cover all the tournaments that we've already kind of done too. So some of the episodes will be talking to like people for the new tournaments, and then other episodes will be kind of like revisiting the tournaments that have already happened. And so yeah, so again, if you want to go hear Alec Kermit's thoughts and things about that Hobby Quest tournament that he did this year, already this season, definitely go over there and check that out. So there we go. I got to plug my other channel, so I thought that was pretty good. So thanks for setting me up, Billy. That was a good pass for the layup. But yeah, Curious Crow, like I said, make it out there, get on the ranked. Beat Billy a couple times. Make sure he doesn't get on the top 10. I'm sure he can tell me all about how you upset him. And if you do, go in the comments. Just let us know how if you were able to make it out to that Pack Crack tournament. But I think we're gonna move on, and we're gonna talk about GenCon. So GenCon, they the Ward staff posted that they're gonna be going to GenCon this year. Pretty big event, and I'm sure they're looking to find a lot of people, get that reach out further to more and more people in the United States. And so yeah, I think it's a pretty good thing that, like you said, they're making it to all these cons. I mean, I'm sure that's kind of like where their main focus is, to kind of like capture people's eyes and attention into Ward. And it's like, speaking of like them spreading Ward around to the United States, Billy, like I feel like this is probably the best way for them to start getting that message across to people, like, hey, this is an official like TCG that like people should really be paying attention to. And like I think this is like a really good way for them to like kind of like grow their brand and like get it out there. Well, how do you feel about them going to Gen Con?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a big deal. If I'm not mistaken, it is the biggest gaming convention in the U.S. So to have Ward there representing, that's a big deal. And then yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's also invite only, so not anybody can just show up and say, "Hey, look at me, I got some rinky-dink card game." Like, you can only go if you're like official, you're established, you're with multiple distributors. Like, it's for big time, right? So, and Ward's definitely up and coming and growing fast. So, I think it's also just a really good point in time of growth that for them to be there. So, we got two generations established and released, and but a couple seasons of tournament play. We got Fabricio supplying phenomenal art out of this world. We got the boss decks that were just released. It's a good time.
Yeah,
So,
I was about to say that's probably their best selling point too with Gen Con is like actually just like promoting these boss. Now that they finally have like boss decks out, I think this is where it's like, if like you said, if no one else really picks up on this like kind of trend of like having different like game modes with their game, I think like Ward can kind of be like the first to like establish that, like you said, with these boss decks, and I think that'll really capture a lot of those fantasy people's like eyes when it comes to having a different mode that you can play with your friends that is like inviting for just basically anybody, not just competitive people that want to play against each other. And so yeah, I think you're right with the whole boss decks. I think that'll definitely be a good touch for them at Gen Con.
yeah, I mean, the retro look and the battling mechanics is already unique and sets the game apart from other TCGs. But PVE, I don't know any other TCGs that have both a competitive 1v1 or 2v2 format and PVE. So that's another thing that's going to set them apart. So yeah, I mean, just a lot of good things going for it. And I mean, if I'm not mistaken, like, you got into Ward at a convention, right? So,
Oh yeah, well TeebCon now, or it's Excalibur Con will be
Excalibur
this year,
Con,
but it was
yeah,
TeebCon last year. Yeah.
yeah. So that's coming up too. But yeah, great opportunity to reach more people and get some more people hooked and
Mm-hmm.
get a couple more Harrys, a couple more KCs on board.
Yeah, there you go. Gotta get some more diehard people into the scene. Like I said, I love our community, and I think it's so inviting for people to want to join in. So it's like I love seeing when you're in the Discord and all of a sudden it's just like a full day of just every couple hours a new person just enters and you're just like, oh my gosh, let's go. And it's like you almost just want to know like how they got in and what their story is and everything. And it's like, I know not everybody is like super vocal in the Discord, but it is kind of cool when you get those people that are just like, oh yeah, this is how I got in. I was at this con, and these guys were really cool, and they their booth was pretty, like you said, or like the like sorry, the animated, or like the retro, the retro is what
Yeah.
you were saying, like captures their eye, and they're just like, oh yeah, I love the comic book vibe of the whole game and stuff, and like you said, just D&D rules. So it's like, yeah, I think it is just fun when you see those people enter the Discord and just know that like, hey, this is a cool community that supports those those same views that they have. So yeah, no, I think Gen Con will be really fun. You brought up double battles or team battles with 2v2, and I do want to take a second just to shout out a little bit on a tangent, but like I really do want more 2v2 battles, even if it is that whole like random thing that they did at the Yuletide Brawl. But I'm kind of curious, real quick, Billy, like how do you feel if we had more 2v2 battles, and maybe even some of them where you actually pick your teammate to play in them?
Yeah, I like 2v2 a lot. It's obviously not my standard game mode. I don't go around saying, hey, let's do 2v2, but every time I played it, it's been a blast. And 2v2 lets you, it makes some cards better, it makes some cards worse, which means you can't just, again, you can't just rely on your like established tier list in your head of like what cards are good and what cards are bad, because like, my best example is that, Eternal Titan. I personally don't think it's that great in 1v1 because, yeah, it's got a good effect, but doesn't go off that often. But in 2v2, turn cycles are longer, and all of a sudden, your turn cycle affects two players now. So if you do get that off, now both your opponents aren't using magic, and if you pick a teammate who says, "Hey, I'm also gonna run the Eternal Titan," and all of a sudden you're like, you can start layering that, and your opponent's in trouble. Another one I came up on the Discord, Demon Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Your opponent's hand, 1+1 per card, and it doesn't specify a single opponent. So if opponent A has 5 cards, opponent B has 6 cards, that's a 12+12 Demon Dragon all of a sudden, and it's only 30 HP. So yeah, I mean, just you have to really reevaluate some cards, and I'd like to see more 2v2 tournaments. I probably wouldn't want them all construct. Well, no, let's say it a different way. I probably wouldn't want them all like pick your teammate. I think probably a healthy mix of pick your teammate and then also just random pairings is gonna be a good thing. So
I think you could do a little bit of everything, like you said. It's like random and pick your teammate, and that's the thing. It was random and pack crack, and I think a lot of random elements, but I really think it's probably better if they just have like one or the other, like you said, like random teammate, or it's a crack pack with it. That'd be kind of a cool way too if you did crack pack with like somebody that like your teammate that you do know. I think that'd be kind of cool to like strategize with each other too. Now that you like bring
there you go, yeah. I mean, because honestly, you don't want as much fun as it would be. You don't want like rank 1 and rank 2 just teaming up and just like hosing the competition. Like that's not fun. Like it needs to be somewhat balanced. So, I mean,
I hear you, but I also think it is one of those things where it's like even like they still have to. It's almost like a whole new game because, like you said, you have to like reevaluate all the cards, and some things are just stronger than others. So it's like, yeah, I guess I can see where you're coming from, but. I don't know. I don't think it's like too crazy, but I do agree with you. I don't think you should have that be every format for that, right? I don't think they should have a whole like 2v2 like whole like separate season thing or anything. Like I think I just think a couple more of those events because I'm trying to look back to when we did do that 2v2 tournament, and it was pretty fun. Like I said, just getting to like meet a new person. I mean, the whole random aspect too, just meeting somebody new, I think that also is just fun. And so it's like, yeah, I really hope that in this season, they keep putting those kind of different formats out there that are fun. Like same with Singleton, I was just thinking too, like I think
Singleton was a good idea.
It was a good idea, and I think just got to get a little bit more of those different kind of formats in the season. I think would be really fun because it is kind of cool to kind of take your brain out of like standard Ward like just rules, because you're just like, oh yeah, like what would be the strongest thing if I only can have one copy of every card, right? It's like what gets better and what gets worse, and also with teammates, what is something that I can play with my teammate that can benefit both of us, or these cards work really well together in a deck.
Singleton doubles,
yeah. There you go. We can get all the different formats in. But yeah, sorry, I'm a little bit off a tangent, but I just think Gen Con is, like you said, it's another just good opportunity for them to get a big wide audience, especially people that are like in the scene of like TCGs, to really just like have something to showcase Ward at. I think just Gen Con will be just such a good opportunity for the Ward staff to get it out there even more. But yeah, any other thoughts on Gen Con? Like I said, we won't be attending. It's in Indiana, but for anybody who is in that area, definitely go there and support Ward and stop by their booth and say hi to them. I'm sure they would love that. And so yeah, I know there are a couple people over in that area that have already said they're going to show up in the Discord, but definitely will be a fun little con. A little bit too far away for me though. That's a little bit of a trip. Maybe one of these years we'll definitely do that for sure. All right.
For sure.
Well, going from Gen Con, we got another con. We have Fancon. Getting sick of the cons yet, Billy?
Never.
So this one I think is very interesting because it's a little bit different. So at Gen Con, by the way, I forgot to say you can play the Ward staff to get a promo card. One of the promo cards I'm pretty sure they're giving away. So if you got to beat them though, and they all have their own cool little specific decks. So one thing that I did want to note, I'm pretty sure Marty is playing Gnomegeddon, which I think sounds like cards that are from Gen 3. I mean, if
I think that's just
a
he's
little
playing
phrase.
gnomes. I think that's just his name for.
That's just the name.
Yeah.
All right, just checking. I don't know. I was just like, I don't know. Everyone else's deck has like a name that I can recognize with a card in the game, and I was like, Gnomegeddon,
Well,
unless
I
it is
mean,
just gnomes. I don't know.
maybe.
Maybe that's what
I
I'm
don't
saying.
know.
Hey man, I love me some gnomes. If that's the
Go
one thing I
find.
wish I could have got to ask them about is definitely the gnomes. But yeah, FanCon. Sorry, I keep getting back on to GenCon. FanCon. They are doing a cool kind of thing. They're doing the first raid boss event.
Yo.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm excited for raid boss events because I really don't know what exactly that entails. I mean, I'm curious if like raid boss means the bosses that they already have, or if that's like its own separate category of bosses. Like I don't know. Like it's just kind of an interesting thing. I mean, how do you feel about raid boss events, Billy? I'm kind of curious.
It's a good. Just continuing to lean into the boss deck, things is like you have a couple friends, you take down some bosses. Maybe you can't take down the bigger bosses, but raids give you a chance to gather with like a bunch of people and like maybe take down some bigger bosses, get some prizes out of it. I like the idea of loot drops. That feels extremely D&D, and I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think you had posted in the Discord a day or two ago, like, yo, what's this dude looking like? And he's on the award website and it says raid events coming soon. Maybe
Yeah, he was in.
it's a new boss.
It's just
I don't
funny that
know.
it's like it was like quick boss rules because I read the original boss rules because I don't know, in my head I was just like really trying to like make sure I had all the rules down just so like if I ever do boss of things I want to make sure I'm like telling people the right thing. But you're right, I got to the bottom of the page and I was just like, oh, like what is this dude just chilling here? And it's just like it's just like raid boss is coming soon, and it's just like, oh, okay. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, they love to, the ward staff love to put these little Easter eggs all over the place for people to just like kind of see, but like have no clue exactly what they are. So it's like I don't know. I love that they definitely kind of tease at things. And speaking of raid bosses too, with like nightmare mode, I kind of like look at a lot of those boss decks that we have that it's just like in my head, like nightmare mode is like raid boss level.
Is the raid, yeah.
Yeah, you're like I'm just like, dude, like what gets harder than these? Like if they are to make something stronger, it's like what could be harder than like these guys? Like some of those effects, like we were reading Cosmogus. I mean, I think that's so crazy. Like he basically just unaffected by card effects. It's like that's just so much things that like you can't do in against him, So it's like what does a boss that's like bigger than like those bosses look like bigger than Chrono Dragon? It's like I don't really want to think about it too much, It's like kind of scary.
Yeah,
how many people are we going to need to beat this boss, and how long is it going to take? That's the I'm hoping it'll still have like a good time frame, right? Like I don't know.
It's like a game of Risk. You have to dedicate like 6 hours to it.
Right. You're just like, all right, everybody, suit up. Make sure you got your drinks and all your foods, and we're gonna take a little like 30-minute break at some point.
Intermission.
Yeah. Let's hope not. I hope it doesn't take that long. But I mean, hey, in a sense, if they're trying to make this like kind of go with like a tournament, it's like it could take a couple hours, if not longer. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how you'd feel about doing a boss fight for a couple hours. That really would feel like a raid boss, right? I just think back to like World of Warcraft. I remember you'd be like going into like raids and it'd just be like, oh yeah, this does kind of take a lot of time out of my day.
I think I would turn into I need to like just keep preparing to make one gigantic hit chunk out of the boss instead of like just chipping away at it. Otherwise, it's like, all right, I'll try my big hit. Did it work? Okay. Nope. I missed 3 rolls in a row for backstab. I guess we lose.
Well, and that's the thing too. I mean, I know we kind of discussed it in the Discord, but it's like, there are a lot of play styles that people like especially for me, like I said, my favorite thing to do is like put on debuffs on the bot, like on like big creatures to like make them weaker at a moment so that like all my people that want to get those big combos like you're talking about can get those big combos off and not be interrupted or like have things stop them. And so it's just like I really hope that, like I said, they can make it feel super dynamic in that sense, because like I would really like to have that ability. And I know we discussed like how can you negate effects on bosses? Can you like if you play Mind Sap, does that shut down all the bosses effects and Nightmare bosses effects? Which I think by the end of it, Tommy came in there and kind of like ruled that it's like, oh yeah, like we kind of all were coming to the agreement of like you can, all the Nightmare, all the effects technically are just like his like ability effects, so like they can be negated besides the stats. Obviously, I know the whole stats situation, obviously you can't just take away their stats, but yeah, I don't know, it's one of those things like that. I'm hoping you can like negate those effects even if they are like kind of crazy effects.
I think the bigger bosses it will be required to essentially assign classes if you want to have a chance to beat it. I mean, tonight, right before this, like I played some boss battles with some coworkers. We did Alvarine, 4 of us, and I took essentially the same deck that I beat Cosmogus with some other people pretty easily, and we got dog walked by Alvarine, and I'm like, okay, and we were all just kind of like playing our best cards.
Dog walking me and Alvarine ripped you to shreds.
Oh, ripped to shreds, like no chance at all.
Joe would be so proud of his Alvarine.
Yeah, he can be happy about that.
It just had to die. It just had to die and come back to life undead.
Yeah.
Now it's just scary as all hell.
Had to die.
Wouldn't want to run into that thing in the forest. Let's just say that.
No, not at all. But I mean, what it showed was that you like maybe on the lower bosses, like put your best cards together and maybe you get lucky. But like the bigger bosses, like you kind of need to have classes. You need to have someone who's going to say, I'm going to debuff the boss and I'm going to negate the boss. And you have someone who's like, I'm going to play defense and I'm going to be a tank and he take all the hits. And you have someone who's like, I'm going to like go full offensive, do big, huge swings,
Right.
Because it's it's just they have much more powerful cards that swing the battle, quickly.
Right.
And you can't just you're past the point of I'm just gonna outpower the boss. The boss is stronger than you, and the boss is stronger than most of the players, all the players. So you need coordination and strategy. And I would not be shocked if the raid is like that, but times 10. I mean, maybe I'm wrong and you could just throw 20 people at it. I've never tried it, so guess we'll find out.
The thing that scares me is that it's like after 30 turns, like let's just say you get to 30. I don't know if that's the expectation is to get past 30 turns, but it's like you're gonna have. I mean, at 25 turns, you're gonna have your whole deck. Every player should, in theory, have their whole deck drawn out, right? So it's like I don't know. That's where it gets a little scary. It's like the boss's deck keeps shuffling and resetting and resetting and resetting, but it's like players' decks don't.
And here's another thought. If you have 10 people fighting a boss, in 3 turn cycles, the boss has gone through his deck.
Yep.
That's a lot of Magic cards being played. So,
yeah.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because, it's like, I don't know. It's like, it sounds like it's pretty difficult. And, like, on top of that, like, I know me and you had a little bit of a discussion, too, where it's just like the fact that you have to roll 4 through 6 to even get the effects of cards that affect the boss in any way to go off. It's like there's times where like you're just gonna have a bad rolls on a lot of your cards and just not get them to go off, and it's just like I don't know. It's like I guess I don't want players to feel super helpless where it's just like I'm kind of curious how you feel about that requirement. I feel like it might be a little too steep. I feel like at some point they might have to tone it down to like actually make it like 3 through 6, so it's like a little better chance, or you know what I mean, where it's just like I'm okay with there being some way for it to not work, like where you kind of like crit miss, but like I don't know, I feel like 4 through 6 can be kind of a hard requirement to hit. I mean, just look at Irresistible Love. Some people you go like 7 turns and you can't get out of it's like I don't know, it's just I don't want it to feel too frustrating of like
Well, I mean, the good part about this is that it's fairly flexible in that, like, if you are playing with your friends and you just cannot get past the boss and you feel like, man, if we just actually had our magic go off, then we would have a chance. Well, okay,
Right.
fine. Play a game and just say it always affects the boss. And then if you beat them, now make it okay. You have to roll a die 2 through 6 affects the
Mm-hmm.
boss. And then if you beat that and just you work your way up and kind of like baby step your way into like what the official rules are, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, and I've talked about it before. Like, if I play a boss, it's just me and Erica, and we feel like there's no chance. Like, okay, it's Cosmogus. We have no chance, and it's 900 HP. Okay, fine. We'll play him at 700 HP. We'll just
Right.
nerf it a little bit just to, have a little bit of a fairer fight. I don't know.
No,
It's it's up to the players, right? It's to have fun, right? So if you feel like it's just impossible, knock it down a little bit. The
yeah.
nightmare and the hard mode are there if you think it's too easy,
I
right?
just
Make it a little harder.
I agree with you. I do just think again back to just like having like a card pool of cards. It's like you want it to feel fun to be a player that still interacts with the boss. Like there's a lot of fun cards that affect your opponent that it's like I feel like people want to play in these boss fights, but I just feel like it's going to tend to lead to things that it's like what consistently comes out. Cards that you play on your creature, not on the boss, right? And it's just like I guess I just really don't want it to feel like it's like at like the like raid boss level if everybody just runs epic loot or everybody's running equipment or everybody flame of the like just things that it's like doesn't affect your opponent because I just don't think that would be very fun because I know there's some of the bosses have like backstab in their decks and it's just like how funny would it be for them to have all that modifiers, all those damage things, and then you just like forest sentinel and throw it back into their face and hurt them with their own attack, like stuff like that. It's like I feel like those cards are kind of fun to play, and especially since you're not having to play them against your friends, you're playing them against a boss. I just think it's like you want to make. I get a little worried that it's like a lot of people are just not going to want to play those cards. And like I said, there is a lot of fun cards in Ward that you can play, and it's just like I don't know. I that is the one limitation from boss like format, I guess, that like kind of scares me a little bit. It's like a lot of cards just aren't even like viable with the boss, and like I said, depending on how they make these bosses, even more cards feel like less viable or like less really like fun to play, I guess, without having to like be like, all right, I gotta roll, right? So it's like I don't know.
Uh,
It's a thought.
it's a thought, certainly.
Well, like you said, I just don't want people to feel like they're shoehorned into like I can only play equipped cards on my creature, or it's like I want people to feel like they can play every card in Ward against the boss. But obviously,
You're gonna, if you want to beat the higher bosses and the harder difficulties, you're gonna have to expand the card library and take some chances. Like,
right?
I don't think you're supposed to beat nightmare mode every time. I think maybe it's
Yeah,
maybe
and
it's
that's
only
fair.
3 out of 10 times.
No,
So
and that's
having, yeah,
oh,
I mean that's it.
oh, I was just saying, I think that's totally fair to make that argument. I just think, you know what I mean? It's like, I do think, like you said, the power that the players have is they could always add more people. And I think, like you said, it's like the more people you do add, yes, the boss goes through their deck faster, but again, it is just more turns before the boss gets his turn. And so it's like you're able to kind of like work out a little bit more of ways to like deal with a boss. And so it's like, I'm hoping that's what these raid bosses kind of allow is that with as many people that potentially will show up, you'll have a pretty good chance of beating it, right? Like that. I mean, that is the goal.
Right.
But hey, I guess that would also be a very sad thing if you go to this event and you try to fight the raid boss and it does just whoop your ass, whoop your ass. No.
Am I? I mean, right? I mean, maybe it's an opportunity for people to get. They find out there's like a secret ultra high tier raid boss, and it's that you know guy we saw on the website, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we tried and we failed miserably, and then they come back to the community, and the community is like, oh, what was it like? It's like, okay, well, this card and this card and this card, and he had 25 plus 25 attack, and like
Right.
we had to like we went this way and we really should have gone that way, and then so
Right.
the next raid, like I don't know, I mean,
No, and I
I
and I
might be
hear you.
just thinking out loud.
I just think it would be sad though. It's like you said, you're getting everybody together. Everybody's like, yeah, let's get that loot, and then this raid boss just actually just is so strong, it just smokes you. And you're just like, I don't know. Went to this big event just to try this out. It's like,
Yeah, well, I mean, if you go and you can't beat it the first time, it'll make it when you do beat it pretty rewarding.
no, exactly. And just to get back to the whole event, like FanCon, like I said, it's like that will be the excitement. I personally will be at FanCon. I will be taking on this raid boss, whatever that is. So as Billy was saying, sharing the experience, you better believe on the podcast after that's on July 13th. So make sure you get a ticket to go to FanCon. Obviously, there's a lot of fun things to do at FanCon. It's not just Ward, but definitely, hopefully, we'll get a bunch of new people that have never played Ward before at my table fighting a raid boss. So I get to just I get to soak in the environment of just new players getting to experience the kinds of crazy things that happen in Ward. It's kind of fun to be the fly on the wall, just watching everybody's reactions, because you're just like, oh yeah, I'm the sweaty nerdy Ward guy that already has been in the community for a while. It'll be cool to just see those reactions. But yeah, I'll be there. I know that Casey, speaking of good old Casey, he's been talking to me about it, dude. He is stoked for that boss fight. I mean, he's also posting all of his boss fights in the Discord and stuff. So there'll definitely be a couple. There'll definitely be a couple people that are pretty familiar with Ward that will be there trying to take down that big old raid boss.
Casey can daggum bring 4 or 5 of his own decks out of his 450 collection and be like, all right, here's a support class, here's an attack class, here's a defense,
Yeah, that's
here's a bard that just
yeah, exactly. He can cover all angles. Yeah, no, that's perfect, like you said. And then he just has to teach everybody, oh, this card's a limited, so you only get one in the deck.
Yeah, right.
Hey, but 3 backstabs. I mean, if he brings 3 backstabs, you can get up to that. You got an assassin. You get it up to what, 20 times 27 damage. He could probably get some big old hits on the bosses.
If you get all 3 of them, I think you can get times 81. So yeah,
there you go, times 81. Yeah,
you need those hits.
Heck yeah, we're gonna need. He'll be the damage guy for sure. We'll need him there. But yeah, no, FanCon, like I said, should be fun. I will be there, and so definitely have to report back on how the raid boss goes. But hopefully we take it down, because yeah, some loot would be great. And like I said, just having a bunch of new people getting into Ward there too would be quite a fun spectacle to have. So definitely looking forward to that. Again, July 13th, I want to say it is. It's that Sunday. Well, the FanCon goes Saturday and that Sunday, so I think it's like the 12th and the 13th. So you can buy a ticket that's like both days, or you can just get like the one-day ticket. So if you're only coming for the Ward event, don't feel like you gotta pay, for the full thing. Just pay for the day that you can show up. But I'm pretty sure it's on Sunday. So if you are, we're all Ward people. I'm assuming you're gonna want to be there on that Sunday at 1 p.m. So Sunday 1 p.m. Be there for the raid boss. Don't be late if you're planning on going, because we're gonna need all the help we can get to beat that thing. So yeah, I think
they're also doing on Saturday. If you go Saturday, I think they're doing a crackback like boss battle. So you just get a pack and crack it, and that's what you play with. So two options there.
Nice, yeah, no, really fun, like you said, and just another way to get a bunch of new people in and not have to worry about a bunch of us sweaty people having all the crazy cards. A little bit more fair competitively, a little more easier for everyone to get in on the event. So yeah, like you said, sounds like a crack pack on Saturday too. So hey, go Saturday and Sunday, and like I said, support FanCon. I think it's really great when we have these kind of events like GenCon, like FanCon, where it's like people can get there and really just kind of be a part of the community. I can only imagine in the future of how many little Ward people are going to be running around at FanCon and GenCon and everything. So yeah, I think that'll be a fun event. Going on from there, Billy, I think we're getting close to like wrapping up, unless you got any other topics you want to talk about or any final thoughts.
No, we covered everything I wanted to talk about. Yeah, shout out the league, talk about the cons, talk about boss battles a little bit.
Yeah, I'll try to get this.
Yeah,
I'll try to get this up by tomorrow morning. So they have until the end of tomorrow, right, to get in the league.
Yeah, 27th, 5 p.m. Central.
5 p.m.
So
27th.
I'll put a shout out also on the Discord. So
Perfect.
But yeah.
Yeah, and so like you said, I mean that's honestly our big thing going on. So we're very excited to get that going and just really give the Ward community something that we really haven't had yet, which I think is just kind of like a consistent play of like Ward with people that are all around. So like again, if you want to get in on that, like Billy said, it's like just $10. I think that's a pretty fair, reasonable amount to pay, and also just like reach out to him, give him your information, and like you said, if there is any things, concerns, problems that you have, reach out to me or Billy, and we'll definitely cover it. But yeah, with that, guys, I think we'll call that episode 19 of WWB, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Peace.